To hereby call this meeting to order. We're going to begin rising for the Pledge of Allegiance, where we will stay standing for words of inspiration. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Pro Tem will be delivering our words of encouragement for the day.
Lord God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this community that we have a privilege and honor to be a part of. We ask you to bless this meeting, lead and guide its proceedings. We'll give you all the glory and the praise. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Sampson.
Here.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Here.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Here.
That's everyone, Madam Mayor.
Well done. Thank you. First item on our agenda is to approve our agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second. Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have approved our agenda, and we'll move on to item number 6, which is public comment for items on the agenda. If you're with us here this evening and you'd like to speak to an item that is on the agenda, please feel free to make your way to the podium, and we'll allot you 3 minutes. And as no one is moving towards the podium, we will close public comment and move on to proclamations and presentations, which we do not have any of this evening, which will make us move on to item number 8, which is consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Item A, minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, June 6, 2023, as presented. Item B, engagement letter with Yo and Yo CPAs and business consultants for auditing services for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. And item C, list of bills in the amount of $803,866.22.
So moved. Support.
Great, we have approved our consent agenda, and we
You got to
may-
vote still.
Oh, sorry, we do have to vote still.
Mayor Milan.
I'll vote yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our consent agenda is now approved, and we will move on to item number 9, which is new business. The first item under our new business tonight is consideration of the special event request for the annual Clausen Parks and Recreation Fall Fest. And Gina is here too.
So we're gonna do a little bit of new and a little bit of old this year. We're actually changing it up to be a Saturday this year. It's gonna be Saturday, September 30th, ideally. We are not gonna change the times. It'll still be 3 to 7, although if you stay for the bonfire, you'll probably be there until about 8. We'll have the vendors, we'll have inflatables, we'll have the petting zoo, food trucks, all that good stuff. We're hoping to have our hay rides back this year. And then we, of course, will be ending with the bonfire and cider and donuts with the fire department. So,
That's great. Would someone like to make a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move the special event permit request by the Clausen Parks and Recreation to conduct the Fall Fest event at the Clausen City Park on Saturday, September 30th, 2023, from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. be approved.
Support.
Any questions, comments? You always do a great job. I'm not ready for it to be
Love it.
fall yet.
I know.
but
I know.
do a little bit
I
of
know,
summer
I know,
first,
I
but
know.
yeah.
It seems early, but
Good
it
to have
moves
it on the
quick.
calendar. It will be here before we know it. Okay, well, thank you. Roll
Yep.
call, please.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Good.
So we will be having a fall festival, September 30th, Saturday, from 3 to 8.
We're gonna mix it up.
Yes. Thank you. Now we will move on to the next item, which is consideration of the contract by and between the City of Clausen and Team Guts on the terms presented in the lease agreement. Would someone make a motion, please?
Madam Mayor, I move the proposed lease agreement between the City of Clausen and Team Guts be approved as presented.
Support.
Gina, you're here still for this.
Yes. We're happy to continue to partner with Paul and Todd. It's a wonderful program. Their summer camp just started yesterday, so we've got lots of kids in the building, drumming like crazy, and but it's a great program. We love to have them around. So we just extended it a smidge because when we end at the end of June, it actually is right about in the middle of their summer camp. So this way, at least, we kind of went through the end of July, so next year it won't be right in the middle. Not that it matters, but.
Okay, good. Any questions, concerns? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson? Mayor Milan?
Yes,
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
So we have just approved a lease between Clausen and Team Guts at the Hunter Center. Next, we are going to move to item C, which is consideration of a credit card use policy.
Move the credit card policy, the credit card use policy be approved as presented.
Support.
Nick, Kelly, who'd like to cover this?
I can give a brief update.
Thank you.
So this is an update to the current credit card use policy, which was first established in the city in November of 1996. The credit card use policy is to help be part of the policy and procedures for the use of city credit cards by department heads or their designee. During prior year audits, EO and YO recommended that we have a policy in place, and this policy will meet the requirements that the auditors are looking for. These procedures are intended to accomplish the following: to ensure that procurement with credit cards is accomplished pursuant to the policy and procedures established by the City Council, to enhance productivity, significantly reduce paperwork, improve internal controls, and reduce the overall cost associated with approved purchases as listed, to ensure appropriate internal controls are established within each department procuring with credit cards so that they are used for authorized purposes only, and to ensure that the city bears no legal liability from inappropriate use of credit cards. And just to reiterate, this is being presented to you as our auditors, Yo and Yo, did call out that on our last audit. And so as we're gearing up for the audit of FY22, we just want to get this in place beforehand.
Great. Any questions? No?
Just one, Kelly. There were several, in their last audit, Yo and Yo brought several issues out that they thought needed to have improved. I
Correct.
noticed this is one of them.
We actually have two here today. One's a credit card use, one's a credit card acceptance. There was also a capital asset policy, and they recommended a fund balance policy, but we had already had that one in place.
Okay. So in the report last year, when they listed out the items, so this is part of that. And I think I mentioned, I asked you the issues they wanted addressed. I'd asked you for your timing, and you said it'd be by the end of this fiscal year. So it looks like this is part of it.
That is correct. It has been done for a while, but yes.
Okay, exactly. You're presenting it now, which is fine.
It's actually been done for about a year and a half, but, you know, changeovers and other
Okay.
more important things.
All right, fair enough. Are the other issues that they raised, are those due to be addressed and closed out by
Yes,
the end of
those
this
have
fiscal
been
year?
addressed.
Okay,
There was also in a sheet policy for a sheeting checks to the state of Michigan. Not necessarily a policy, but that we actually do the process. So that is scheduled to be completed by the end of this month when we have to report. The deadline is reporting June 30th to the state. So we've got about 8 checks that we're reporting, but I'm having a issue with BSNA, so I may have to do it manually.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes,
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Thank you. We have just approved a update to the credit card use policy, and we'll move on to the next item, which is consideration of a credit card acceptance policy.
Madam Mayor, I move the credit card acceptance policy be approved as presented.
Thank you.
Support.
So the credit card acceptance policy is similar to the use policy, except obviously it's us accepting credit cards instead of using them. And so we've obviously been accepting credit cards for a period of time now. This is just clarifying and updating language that we've had previously. So the adoption of this policy by resolution authorizes the acceptance of payments by financial transaction devices, which is in the purview of the city council pursuant to PA 280 of 1995, and authorizes the treasurer to continue their use according to the policy. And as the previous policy, the prior year audits, Ionia recommended that we have a policy in place for credit card acceptance. And I just want to note that this policy shall revoke and supersede any prior policies adopted by the council of the city of Clawson.
Thank you. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
All set.
You've just approved the credit card acceptance policy, updating the credit card acceptance policy. And we are moving so quickly through this agenda. We'll move on to item F, which is consideration of the first reading of an ordinance to amend the City of Clawson Code of Ordinances. You're right. I'm moving too quickly, which is what I do when I cross things off ahead of time, which we're going back to item E and going to discuss consideration of the fourth quarter budget amendment for fiscal year 2022-2023. Sorry, Kelly. No, you want to talk about this.
Madam Mayor, I move the fourth quarter budget amendment for fiscal year 2022-2023 be approved as presented.
Support.
Thank you. Sure.
I don't know if you have any questions. This will be the fourth and final amendment. All amendments need to be adopted prior to the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. Each of these funds listed in the amendment have a zero net change, so we're either increasing revenues or decreasing revenues and doing the same with expenditures. So general fund, there's various departments that we adjusted just to align with what they're currently predicted to end the year at. There is one in the general fund. We are using assigned fund balance that we set aside in FY '22 for IT right and municipal analytics. The city council approved a budget amendment last fiscal year to enter into those agreements, and obviously we didn't enter into them until FY '23, so those funds were moved forward into FY '23. So all the other funds, major and local streets, just small increases due to additional revenues, grant revenues, interest revenues. Refuse collection fund, we are using fund balance to cover increased cost. The property taxes didn't quite cover all the additional costs, but interest income offsets some of that. So there's a small use of fund balance that we may need to use prior to the year end. These are just forecasted numbers, so if anything changes, we would not be using any fund balance or a portion of the budget amendment of $35,000. So senior housing, adjusting the revenues to expenditures as well to offset the decrease in revenues, and water and sewer fund. Additional interest income was received, as well as penalties on water and sewer bills. And I know they had a water main break just a week or two ago, so that may be used to offset the costs associated with that break.
Okay.
That's it.
Any questions? No? Thank you for that. Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've approved our fourth quarter budget amendment for fiscal year 2022-2023. Next item will be item F, which is consideration of the first reading of an ordinance to amend the City of Clawson Code of Ordinances, Chapter 62, Solid Waste, Article 2, Collection and Disposal, Section 62-44, Eviction Ordinance.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the first reading of an ordinance to amend the City of Clawson Code of Ordinances, Chapter 62, Article 2, Collection and Disposal, Section 62.44, Eviction Ordinance.
Support.
Thank you. Mr. Nushay?
Madam Mayor, members of council, you'll recall, we prepared this ordinance some time ago, and it was presented before this body some time ago. And
Or
you-
another body,
Well,
not this body, right?
yes.
Just out of
No.
fairness for people who
No,
weren't part
absolutely.
of it.
The body remains, but
Yeah.
you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
You know, you're absolutely correct. This was done, at the time, council requested that we have a hearing so we could get some community input. The hearing was held. It was in late 2019. Thereafter, at the next meeting, I believe, we lost our city manager at the time. Subsequently, we didn't get a new city manager until when we were well into COVID. Coupled with that, I think there was some, because I presume we didn't have a whole lot, not I presume, but because we didn't have a whole lot of evictions, we also didn't have a lot of issues concerning this very topic throughout time. Recently, a couple of residents reached out to the city manager and questioned whether we had such an ordinance on the books, and obviously that triggered our desire to want to bring this back before you for your consideration. It's limited to the removal of personal property in situations of evictions, and we're attempting to have as orderly a process as possible when that occurs. It is not, I imagine, the hugest issue in town, but it is enough of an issue for us to be, for the administration to have had some requests for something like this. So we wanted to bring it back before you so that you may consider it, either pass it as is, make whatever modifications. Obviously, I'll take any and all direction from the five of you.
Comments?
I can only think of the one house on Hendrickson that this might fall under, and the circumstances surrounding that we have a speedy process, but one that is clear, that there's no loopholes or any delay in resolving that situation again. So, but
Yeah.
my other question is that this will not apply to structures that have not been completed?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, we're talking about, the end of a tenancy that is against the wish of the tenant.
Okay.
Meaning where there's some court proceeding at the end of the tenancy.
Okay.
So when this came before us the first time, it was predicated by an issue on Bowman or somewhere over there, right? There was someone who was
Bowers.
evicted.
Bowers. On
Bowers, and it was a B name, right? So someone was evicted and all their belongings were thrown
All
out.
scattered all throughout the sidewalk.
Right, and that caused concern for people who actually cared about those individuals and also for the, neighbors nearby who are watching things disappear and whatever. And I'd just like to point out that when we had discussed this in our previous council, Councilmember Moffett was really adamant to ensure that there was an opportunity for people to be able to retrieve their items if, in fact, it was a situation where they weren't aware that their belongings were being thrown into the street. So in this packet of information that we have, there is a clause that states that I don't know what the terminology is, that the dumpster, I guess it's a
It's
dumpster,
access.
would have access from your level, from our level, right? Like a door on the side as opposed to just being able to throw things over the top, which would, if that were the case, people have to climb in to find their belongings. So that's something that was incorporated into this to kind of help people out and be a little humane towards a situation that probably saw lots of time and people weren't really surprised by, but allowed an opportunity for people to save their belongings should they need to at that point.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments or concerns? No? Then roll call, please.
This will come back again at the next meeting. This is just a first reading. So,
right.
okay. Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we've just approved the first reading of an ordinance to amend our city ordinance for solid waste. And this will come back before us probably at the next meeting or so, and then we'll have an opportunity to approve it. Now we'll move on to item 10, which is old unfinished business. Do we have any old unfinished business? Great answer. We'll move on to number 11, which is public comments for items not on the agenda. If anyone in the audience would like to speak to an item that is not on the agenda, they can make their way to the podium. We will allot you 3 minutes. And and listen to you.
Good evening. My name is Nate Hara from Park Drive. My next-door neighbor recently moved into a rental property there. A wonderful a couple, actually, and they made some gifts for you. They've been hearing me talk about the activities of the city, and she and her husband are very enthusiastic about the city and the leadership you all have presented in recent months. So she made these books, these little notebooks that you can put items in. There's sort of a journal, if you will, and it's got Clausen's latitude and longitude approximately, I think. So I wanted to dispense these on her behalf to you and say thank you for all the hard work you're doing and the classy leadership that you're showing. So
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Sophia.
Thank you, Sophia. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
These are so nice. I like this day. This just made this fun, right? Anyone else? We will close public comment and move on to the city clerk's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last week, both Jennifer and I attended the Michigan State Clerks Conference, as I affectionately refer to as Clerks Gone Mild. Lots of meetings and networking and a lot of information about the upcoming elections and theories about what's going to happen with the upcoming elections next year. So a lot of things still aren't in stone. But as far as this coming election, I am happy to report that our AV ballot applications hit the mail last week. We've already got a couple hundred back in. One thing that's different is you'll notice that this year now, according to law, the applications are return postage paid. So you don't have to put a stamp on it. And when the ballots go out, which those should go out maybe Thursday, maybe Monday, they also come back postage paid by the state. So you don't have to put a stamp on the ballots anymore. Those envelopes all arrived while I was gone. So that's what's coming up. And we're already processing. We have them way ahead of schedule, and we're going good. So, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Well, I do have a question. Well, I'm asking for information. It's an election year, as we know. We have a seat for mayor and 2 city council seats that'll be up. Could you please share the process, should anyone out there be interested in becoming a public servant in that capacity?
But we do have the packets with the signature sheets, petitions available with all the information you need, the affidavits, there's instructions there, and we'll walk anyone through it who asks. We won't let anyone who doesn't file at the last minute fail. We'll always help them fix it.
Good to know. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Next up, city manager's report, Mr. Nick.
I have nothing, so you go for it.
Okay.
Oh,
You're fine.
you guys have no idea. I just sit here and I cross things off like
Flying
next. I'm flying along. I'm so sorry. No, Mr. Nushai, you've missed you've had life instead of city of Clausen. You must have something for us. Come on.
I'd like us to pause for a moment and reflect on the beautiful statement just uttered, which was "clerks gone mild." As quoted, heard here first.
I'll never accept that as a theme. I try every year.
But otherwise, thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing additional.
Okay, thank you. All right, Nick, sorry about that. It is now your turn.
Yeah, no worries. Before I give the report, I just want to add on to August's comments about the election. Correct me if I'm wrong, July 25th is the deadline to submit signatures for people wanting to run for mayor and council, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
it is July 25th, yes.
Thank you. So Hartwell recently completed their miscellaneous concrete program here throughout the city, and during that process, they've repaired 21 locations, totaling just under 18,000 square feet. This round of miscellaneous concrete projects, on average, covered roughly 857 per location compared to the last program, which was 670. So we're able to fix 21 spots throughout Clausen, and we also increased the square footage that was done at each location. Quality is still completing the end of work over on Selfridge and Phillips, and their final steps are to camera the sewers and clean the streets, and that should be done over the next week and a half. We do have an active water main break over on North Marias. The break is currently right underneath an active DTE utility pole, and in order to safely do the work, we need to have DTE on site. DTE and the water department will be addressing the water main break first thing in the morning. When you pulled in, you might have noticed a big temporary dumpster in the parking lot. The contractors for the locker room project have started today, and that project will be ongoing over the next few weeks, and hopefully doesn't get on get closer to a few months. So that will be there temporarily during the demo phase. The police department also rolled out their virtual neighborhood watch program, which allows residents and business owners with surveillance systems to register their camera with us using a link which can be found on our website or the Clawson Police Department Facebook page. The police department will not have direct access to the camera system. Completing the registration only allows the department to know where the locations of available cameras are citywide and who to contact in the event that there is potential for footage to be available. This is a free and voluntary program to assist the police department with investigations of missing persons, suspicious activity, and crimes that occur throughout the city. I would strongly encourage everyone that has a video doorbell to register so we can continue keeping Clawson a safe place to live. We will have a brief edition of the Clawson newsletter mailing going out early next week. And that would conclude the report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions from the mayor and council.
I got a question. Water main break on Lincoln about 6 weeks ago. You're gonna close the hole up. It's still,
I believe there should have been asphalt poured over that.
they got barrels all around it, so you can't use that part of the road.
Okay, we can take a look on that tomorrow and see what we can do. That was on Lincoln?
Lincoln, yeah.
Lincoln, okay.
I just got a question about it. It's been about 6 weeks.
Okay. We can take a look at that tomorrow.
Yeah, Nick, just on the employee evaluation process, is that going to be on the agenda for July 5th? Because that document's been ready and at the city administration office for final review?
Yes, so obviously due to recent circumstances, the city manager and staff haven't had a full chance to review it. But I would say we should anticipate the evaluation being on the July 5th city council meeting. Yes.
Anything else? Thank you, Nick. We appreciate you. Next, we will go to city council comments. Councilmember Shepherd.
No comments.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Just one. I'd just like to thank the Clawson Rotary Club for allowing me to attend one of the recent meetings and such their great work with the organization they do for our community and worldwide. One of the models is service above self. That personally inspires me. And I'm kind of amazed that 98% of their donations pass directly through their organization to our community and those people in need. So I'd like to thank all of them for all the great work, and that would be Jeff Gerald, who's the president, and the rest of the members. So thank you.
Councilmember Sampson? No? Mayor Pro Tem?
I have no comment.
Okay, then, I would like to say thank you to the Friends of the Library for the event they hosted yesterday at the gazebo. Music at the library and at the gazebo. It was really very well attended, and it was so nice, and there was free popcorn. That's always good. I'd like to remind everyone that their DIA has their Inside Out program in Clawson. This past Saturday, a couple of docents provided a bike tour. We met at City Hall and traveled to the various locations around town to get a little bit of education on the art pieces that have been put up. So while you're out and about, look, there's one at the park, Hunter, the library, City Hall, Eclectic Home, Julian Brothers, the Clawson Auto Store. What else? What did I miss? I'm trying to think of the route there and back. There's one right across from Leon and Lulu, basically in that empty lot. And that might be it. But, oh, and at the park. Did I say the park? At the park. Either way, go see them. They did a really great job of putting art that kind of matches the environment. So kind of cool. And then I would like to say thank you in advance to everyone who is working extremely hard on getting us ready for 4th of July. As you know, we won't be meeting before 4th of July, but there are plenty of activities that are coming up. The first one is the Freedom Run Race, which takes place on June 25th. On June 28th, there will be a concert in the park with an ice cream social starting at 7. A kiddie parade on July 1st at 11 a.m., which is so much fun. You can decorate a bike or a cart or wagon, stroller, whatever. They start at City Hall and then they trek over to the park. Prizes for that one. On July 2nd through 4th, the carnival will begin at the city park. I believe if you go online, you can purchase tickets starting now if you want to. July 3rd and 4th, there will be an artisan market and live music at the park. And on the 4th, there will be the Firecracker Mile, parade, fireworks, and so much more. There's information on the website, as well as all the times the events can be found The website is clausen4thofjuly.com. So if you're going to be in town for the weekend, just be ready for lots of fun and activity. No excuse to not have a good time unless you just don't want to have a good time. But other than that, I don't have anything. I would call for a motion to dismiss.
Motion to adjourn.
Yep, sorry.
You did allude to it, just that obviously the 4th of July is on a Tuesday, and so the first meeting of the month will be pushed back to that Wednesday. I think you guys all know, but just for the
Good
public's
idea.
sake, just
Yeah.
to let everyone know.
Or we'll just meet up and do a really quick meeting outside to the sound of fireworks.
Okay.
But no, we'll be back here on the 5th.
And who seconded?
I did.
All right, Shepherd.
Yes.
Tinlin.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Milan.
Yes.
Sampson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well
Good
done,
night,
everyone.
everyone.
8 o'clock.
Thanks.